Ms. Davis, could you please poll us on whether or not we're coming out of closed session?
Ms. Cunha? Aye. Mr. Vaughn?
Aye.
Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Mr. Reimer?
Aye. Motion is passed. We are now in open session. Mr. Vaughn, could you please read the certification of the closed session?
Yes, sir. Whereas the New Kent County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative directorial vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the New Kent County School Board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the New Kent County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the New Kent County School Board.
Do I hear a motion to certify the closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Davis, please poll us.
Ms. Cunha? Aye. Mr. Vaughn?
Aye.
Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Mr. Reimer?
Aye. The closed session has been certified and voted 4-0. Ms. Dombrowski is absent tonight, but we do have a quorum. Next on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir. We have a special treat here tonight. Mr. Robert, we have a Boy Scout in our midst, although not in uniform, so you wouldn't know. Mr. Ben Miller, who may or may not be related to Ross Miller, is here on official Boy Scout duty. And as such, I think he is the perfect person to lead the pledge.
Mr. Miller, could you
You
please
just
lead
start
us
us
in
and
the pledge?
we'll go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
You have to coming in.
Yeah, we got it.
Board members, by now you've had the opportunity to review the items listed on the consent agenda.
Mr. Reimer?
Yes.
Recognition, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Recognitions. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Just want to give you a couple we have a couple people in new leadership roles or new to us. Kind of introduce you to them on the screen, and then we'll have them at a future meeting. So we're excited to add Mr. Chris Leach as the assistant principal of New Kent High School. He's coming to us technically from Chesterfield, but most of his career as a teacher has been in Powhatan. So he was really excited about coming to a division like the one he grew up in as a teacher to be assistant principal. So he has hit the ground running, and we're incredibly excited to have him. AJ Gerstenmeyer is joining us from Spotsylvania as our, I don't know why I said it like that, as our supervisor of assessment and accountability. So our data position, federal grants and those pieces, he is joining us. He is coming from the classroom as well. So we're very excited. And Bo officially began a couple weeks ago, and we're very excited to have them on board, and you will see both of their work at future meetings. So,
Thank you, Dr. Nichols.
yes, sir.
And back to the consent agenda. Board members, you should have had the opportunity to review it. Consent agenda includes minutes from the previous meeting, bills, payroll, financials, and the superintendent's recommendations regarding personnel. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion second been made. Ms. Davis, please poll us.
Ms. Cunha? Aye. Mr. Vaughn?
Aye.
Mr. Romano?
Aye.
And Mr. Reimer?
Aye. The consent agenda has been approved on a 4-0 vote. New business. Dr. Nichols, opening of schools.
Yes, sir. It is that time. We're opening schools. 2 weeks from today. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on how that is going. I'm sorry, you're good. Mine's there we go. Today we welcomed the newest members of Team New Kent. We had a new teacher breakfast today. Ms. Cunha was with us, as was the Education Foundation, and really got off to a great start with 42-ish new teachers, counselors, staff members. So we're very excited about the team. They are a very veteran group. There aren't many new teachers anymore. We're working on that, but we have a lot of people with a lot of experience that want to be a part of Team New Kent. So very excited about that. Our staffing, here's where we are right now at New Kent Elementary. We are fully staffed. George Watkins, and I think this is being finalized right now, so when you have to post 5 days in advance, not everything is completely updated. One special ed paraprofessional, which I believe we have closed out. Quentin currently sits at no vacancies. New Kent Middle School has 1 special ed teacher, and we have hopefully a lead there. New Kent High School is fully staffed. And then on the driver's side of things, bus and car, we have 2 full-time openings. So if you have your CDL or would like to get your CDL, we can certainly help you with that, and then 6 part-time. So incredibly fortunate, I won't say lucky because we worked really hard to get to this point, to have 1 teacher opening in the entire school division when you read reports across the Commonwealth and across the nation. The driver piece is a continual thing that we work on, but we are ahead of where we were last year at this time. So just a special thank you to everybody that's involved in staffing, and even everybody out there who helps us through social media and reposts our posts and shares everything that we're doing. So really excited about Team New Kent moving forward.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols.
Oops, I got a couple more for you, Mr. Brown. Summer projects, people say, what do you do during the summer? Do you go on vacation? No, we're incredibly busy. Here are some, a couple projects. So we did a major HVAC replacement, a whole floor at New Kent Middle School. Big upgrade there. Teacher lounge upgrade at New Kent Middle School. Pretty soon I'll be able to put cafeteria upgrade at New Kent Middle School. That happens next week. Wait till you see the pictures on that. It's going to be amazing. A ton of ESSER related projects being completed. That money ends September 30th, so we're well on our way with that. And then on the transportation side of things, we're able to do the pump island replacement. So just a sampling of the summer projects. August 26th is the class of 2037. That's a scary number. We'll be starting kindergarten. So when I got here, it was the class of 2032. We're already at the class of 2037. So it is flying. Gosh, that's scary. We have a lot of events coming up, but first the school calendar snapshot. We are going a week before Labor Day. That should not be a surprise. So these are some important dates as you look through the year, because the year will also fly. And all of this is on our website as well. We have a lot of opportunities for our families. Here are some new programs that we have. This will be the first year at preschool at all 3 elementary schools. So we're excited about that. Entrepreneurship has been added to New Kent High School. We have a lot of career-focused courses, but we don't necessarily have courses that teach you how to run your own business. So now Entrepreneurship 1 and 2 will be at the high school. Teachers for Tomorrow will be at New Kent High School. I'm very excited about expanding that. We have a lot of young people who want to go into the profession. We want to hook them here and then work with them throughout their college career. And then elementary STEM being added with the additional resource. Some important information for families. First day of school, I've said, August 26th. We are closed August 30th and September 2nd for the Labor Day holiday. People often ask, why are you opening early just to close on Friday? It is state law. If you're going pre-Labor Day, you have to take the Friday before and the Monday off, no matter when you start pre-Labor Day. So that comes with the territory. So we'll be here for 4 days, and then we'll come back for another 4, and in the 3rd week of school, we'll get a full 5-day week. Also for families, man, I keep being,
That's it.
Oh, I thought I had one more. We have a ton of events coming up for families, back to school nights. I'm very proud of all 5 schools that have offered opportunities to engage with families ahead of all of these events, including the high school, which has done Snack and Chat for the first time. They've done 6 sessions already. The middle school has done their sessions. And I think every elementary has done popsicles with principals in some form or fashion. So really the outreach has started early, and then we'll have all our back to school events. Ready or not, we're starting on August 26th, but the beautiful news is we are so ready, we could start day after tomorrow. It's gonna be a great year, and I'm honored to serve. Hey, let's go. We may have some difficulty with transportation, but we're ready. So thank you, board, for working through a budget that allows us to be this ready. And thank you to the team that has gotten us to this point. We'll give you an update after we get in session.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Miller, could you talk to us about the summer school program?
Yes. Mr. Reimers, members of the board, Dr. Nichols, glad to come before you and talk to our launch program to start this summer. So this was our summer program for this year. We brought it to you back in the spring and talked a bit about what we're going to be doing. So just wanted to give an update on how it went. So our administrative interns that works this summer, we had 4 of them that went through the full summer. So we had elementary, Melanie Basola and Ashley Smith, and the middle school, Jamie Collins. Our middle school, our elementary program was at New Kent Elementary School, and then middle and high were over at the high school. And this ran from July 8th through the 25th for the launch program. I'll get into the high school program, which is a little bit longer as we go along. So our main goal here was to identify students, provide remediation for them on skills that they had shown deficiencies in on SOLs, as well as their classroom performance. And so really wanted to base that on what we see as far as needs there when we look at data. All right, so our overall program, we invited basically a large number of students. We didn't get quite everybody that we wanted, but we still got a large number of 184 students in elementary school, and we had 21 teachers that took part. Each student, they did a rotational program where they spent time in 3 different classes a day, a reading class, a math class, and then we had a STEAM class to bring us all back together and also create an extra level of interest there in the program. Every class was between 7 to 14 students. And for structural resources, for reading, we had a research-based program that we had purchased called 95%. And it went really well. The teachers enjoyed using it, and I felt it was very helpful to have lessons that were research-based already laid out for them. Then we had created and worked with our teachers to create STEAM lessons based on the idea of launch. And so there was 3 weeks. We spent 1 week on launching on land with cars, launching in air with planes, then launching on the water with boats. And so the kids built boats, cars, and planes. And then we used our CIP resources as well as teacher-created resources to create math lessons and activities for them to do. And then two of the programs we use digitally for part of the time. Lexi is a program the state provided through the All-In initiative for reading, and Happy Numbers is a program we use for math during the normal year, and we had students working in it as well. So here's some of the pre and post data. We did have a pre-assessment and post-assessment at every grade level, for reading and math. And so if you look on the left of each column, we have our pre-test averages by grade level. So red's reading, blue is math. If you look, we did show growth in every area, every grade level and every subject area from pre to post test. So that was good to see. We didn't see as large a growth in subgrade levels as we did in others. And so hopeful that in the future we can sort of get those areas where we're only seeing the minimal growth. So even if they're like second grade at 4%, like to see the growth, but like to see it a little more closer to what we're seeing in some of the other grade levels.
Mr. Miller?
Yeah.
Do you have, what I'm interested in is their truancy data associated with those growth rates. So can you talk to whether or not there's higher truancy in some areas than others, that had assessments?
So we do have attendance, and so there are some grade levels where we had a higher level of sort of absenteeism than the other areas. I can't say whether or not it definitely applied to those areas where we showed less growth. I can find that information out.
Yeah, if you could bring that
for you. Yeah. Here's some of the pictures from some of our lessons. You have STEAM activity up there on the top left. Then that's a math lesson and another math lesson and STEAM activity at the bottom right. They're working on. Middle school, we had less attendance. We had invited approximately about the same amount, probably just a few students last, almost 200 students in middle school. We only had 77 actually sign up. And towards the end, we did open that up to all middle school, sent out notification, and didn't really get much there as well. As far as people enrolling after that fact, but so we did have that split between 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and that's rising. So the rising 6th grade, one of the nice features there was that's 5th graders who were over at the middle school interacting with our middle school teachers and some of the middle school students. So, and then those are rising 7th, rising 8th. Each person were placed in a reading and math activities every day. Again, class size is about the same, 7 to 14 students per class. It's ideal for a remedial setting, is to have less than 15 in your class. They use a variety, again, our CIP resources. We use Lexia. Zern is the math program that was provided through All In, as our middle school is used to using it. And then we use teacher creator resources as well for our middle school program. For those assessments, the 6th grade, there we showed less growth than anywhere else, and actually the 6th grade in reading, there shows an average growth less than 1. I will tell you there is an outlier there that is causing a decent amount of that. If we took basically 1 to 2 students out of that group that were a drastic difference, where they scored extremely well on pre-test and then did very poorly on the post-test, then we should be showing growth in that 6th grade group as well. So we did show growth almost everywhere except for that 6th grade reading. And again, I'll pull attendance data on that one as well for you.
Mr. Miller, could you explain if the same task was given in pre and post?
It was. It's a pre and post test.
Is there a particular reason for is there something that might explain the anomaly with that?
In that 6th grade?
Yes.
I think there's going to be some effort on the end because the post-test was drastic, like, for 1 or 2 students, which threw off the entire test
So
average.
they may not have attempted to try.
Correct.
Okay.
That is the hypothesis. So high school yeah, it's good. So high school, summer school is mostly focused there on recovery of credits and SOL credit recovery to verify credits to make sure students are getting their credits to graduate and getting the required SOL test to graduate. And so really focused there. We had a total of 57 students. These are students who either didn't pass the class or didn't pass the test or didn't pass either. And so geometry and world history were for students who didn't pass either. Some students would have passed one or the other. We also had students who didn't pass either and needed to be in there. And then with biology and end-of-course writing, it was just for SOL prep. And these are not for students who failed the class, but just needed extra assistance to make sure they get past the test. And then for those classes, we had a general ed and a special ed teacher in every class to go ahead and provide some extra remediation and extra better ratios there. Ave Marie Miller served as the admin intern for the program. She did a great job. It ran from July 1 to July 25th, so we added an extra week in there because in some places we were replacing a course, so we needed extra time. And these are students who already struggled on the SOLs. They need these SOLs to graduate, so we want to make sure we gave them extra time. Biology, we had a pass rate of 67%. World History 1, 67%, and Geometry 20%. We're still, I need to go back and check on the writing. That takes longer because you have to have readers and it's scored twice, once by reading, once by AI, and then we get the scores back. And so we're still waiting on those scores to come back in. So that's overall how they did on their SLOs.
Any questions?
How does that compare to previous years?
So the percentages there, the geometry is a little low for what we've had in the past, but the other two are pretty good. And remembering these are students who did not pass the SOL test during the year, and so this is in 3 or 4 weeks on entering remediation. So those pass rates are pretty good for the summer. That geometry pass rate that's an anomaly compared to what we've had in previous summers. And so we need to look there, sort of what happened.
Was the same program used as the previous year for the geometry remediation?
No.
Consistent.
Yeah, definitely. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Russ.
If you want to stop in there. These are some of the pictures of some of the classes that took place at the high school. These are middle school. Actually, there's Ms. Coogan down there in the bottom right. We did have, some of you came out and visited. We're very thankful that you were able to make it out. But we had, as part of our 7th grade reading program, we had students reading about cooking and about creating their own restaurant. And actually had quite a bit of speakers come in that read a lot about it and had to plan out a restaurant menu and everything, and actually they went through the cooking process. It was a great way for the teachers to embed their reading instruction and math instruction into real life, real world circumstances.
I have one more question. Is there anything that you would recommend different?
So the amount of time is tight, the 3 weeks. And so I would look at whether or not we can possibly increase it to everybody to maybe 4 weeks to at least get some extra time in there. Would like to look at some math resources similar to the reading where we have a research-based program that we were utilizing. I think the STEM classes, I would keep them because I do think that it gives students an extra level of interest there. They are giving up some of their summer to come, and that gets that there for them, or some interest there for them. So I wouldn't change that at all. I think most of the biggest thing I would shift would be possibly the time and the amount of time that we have with the data length. They were pretty, I would say they were pretty tired by the end of the day, and especially knowing it's during the summer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So those numbers aren't impressive in terms of the amount of time that was put into the whole program. What can we do in the future to, and it's not the program itself necessarily, but even the attendance numbers, especially middle school, which is so pivotal. I would like to see us take another look at the whole program in terms of how do we, maybe it's presentation, maybe it's, I don't know, but whatever needs to be done to entice these students to, and take seriously, although at middle school age, it's a little difficult to take most anything seriously. Having 4 children of my own, I understand that. But nonetheless, they need this. Not just to pass the SOLs, but to continue and enhance their education. So I would like to see us go through this thing, not only the course structure and what's being taught, but the whole program. Look at it, as a whole, because if teachers and volunteers and everybody's going to make the investment of time,
I
does that make
understand.
sense?
Yeah, I would say as far as marketing, probably start, if we can start earlier, it'd be nice. We're trying to get the most up-to-date data and who needs it the most. And so we use like their winter assessment data to determine who we're inviting. And so possibly some awareness earlier in the year would generate more interest.
Maybe even meeting with, and I know this is a time issue, meeting with the parents, having a one-on-one prior to the end of school to inform them, what you may be hearing from your student coming home is not what's actually going on there.
Yeah.
And we're offering this tremendous opportunity to help out.
I agree, and I don't know, maybe we need an action item this is, I agree with Mr. Vaughn about the importance of this program and improving it and getting kids enrolled in it is a long-term priority. And so maybe we need some proposals.
But I'll combine that with something else we need to wrestle with, board members, is the funding behind this also goes away September 30th, so this will have to
Be set.
whatever we do will be in the operating budget. We'll have to make room for it. So I think it's a perfect time to do all of that. What is our number? How do we get that number?
And if we're gonna host this again, we need to do it better.
Yeah, and we have funding still available through All in Virginia over the next 2 years to do that with. But we are eventually going to run out with grant funding. Yeah. Yeah, we do have some additional funding for next year.
Can you explain to us, and I visited several times, so as part of the program, they were given breakfast and lunch, and it was, I believe the summer, it was over at 12, right? And I think, can you actually gauge how much instructional time actually occurred if you take away the breakfast and the lunch? Would you say it was an hour and a half of instruction? How many breaks did they have?
So it was a 4-hour program every day. And so when you take out about 20 minutes on each end, and so take out about 40 minutes off of 4 hours.
And then are they given additional breaks in between? I know they were learning to, for example, at the middle school, they were learning to transition from one class to the other.
Yeah, you have some
English and
transitions
math.
in there.
And how much time was given for those transition periods, et cetera?
So about 5 minutes is transition time between each class.
So this reflects my concern with the
Yes.
length of the day. But anyhow, all of that needs to be reviewed.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing program, amazing opportunity, amazing offering to the students that are having difficulty. But, from our perspective, we can only do what we can do. You can only do so much there. But, the question is, as we look at it, are we targeting excellence in this thing? Rather than just perfunctory doing this over and over again. That's no reflection on, you or the program. It's just, I think it's time to review.
I think bottom line, Mr. Buck, we had room for twice, 2.5 times the number of middle school kids in this program. Right? We got to make that happen.
Yeah, that's a sad number when you're offering it to 200 plus, and you get 77 or 75.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Ms. Morgan, you have a presentation on fundraising.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer, board members, Dr. Nichols. This is something actually I don't think that actually we're required to bring to the school board, but I think it's a good idea just for you to see kind of the fundraising activities in our schools. We do allow principals to approve fundraisers throughout the year. Dr. Nichols only will approve it if it is something that's a direct solicitation of funds from patrons. So I just wanted to kind of give you a list. Let me know if you have any questions. We are asking for your approval this evening, but I think moving forward in the future, we won't necessarily ask for your approval, but we could always bring it to you once a year if that's something you see.
So the one on the right, as you know, is the high school. There's a lot of clubs and activities. They all do their various fundraising above and beyond what we do.
There was one that I noticed that they included on there that is a booster club fundraiser. So typically, we don't have any approval of PTO fundraisers or fundraisers that booster clubs will do. We just ask that they really make sure that they advertise it as such that it's their fundraiser and that it's not something that's not specific.
No, I can't even see it, quite honestly, but with all the trust in the world, I thank you for
Absolutely.
bringing it to us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, old business. The VSBA policy on its second reading.
Mr. Chair, I move that we table this for clarification of terms in the policy itself, which read, school board, does that mean state, or does that mean us, or how, there's, so I would recommend that we, and would like to make a motion to table this for further discussion.
Second that motion. Motion's been made and seconded. Ms. Davis, please poll.
Ms. Cunha?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
Mr. Pagano?
Aye.
Mr. Reimer?
Aye. So the motion has been made to table the review or the second read of the VSBA policy. It's passed 4-0, so we'll move on.
And you could say that.
I know, I could have just.
Right.
Mr. Reimer, school board members, Dr. Nichols, I also wanted to bring this evening a grant appropriation request. Most likely you'll have some further grant appropriation requests as we get through year-end processing and specifically with our school nutrition fund. All of these grants have been brought to the school board. We've been talking about them for many years. So this is really just a little bit of housekeeping on the accounting side of really getting those funds on the general ledger, specifically for ESSER 3, which you see will spill into next year. As Dr. Nichols said, that we have till September 30th for that grant, so we're hoping that everything will be done and wrapped up by that time, so looking forward to it.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hoffman, Code of Conduct Review, second reading.
Hi, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Nichols, thank you. This evening I'm here to talk about Code of Conduct Review. This is related to strategic plan goal number 2, student safety, caring culture, and global awareness. What we did as a process, we had a committee come together. We had 2 meetings on February 12th and February 29th. The committee consisted of parents, teachers, and administrators. From there, what we looked at is recommendations based upon the 5 different sections of behaviors, which are labeled A through E, as you can see. For section A, next slide, here we go, which is behaviors that impede academic progress. There were no recommended changes from the committee. If you go to S-bar B.
Can I jump in one second?
Sure.
Sorry. So board members, this is the second read. We did the initial read back in April. We have not made any changes outside of cell phones. So what we did is we parked code of conduct until we get through the cell phone policy. And now we're coming back to you with this, really the cell phone recommendation changes. But what Mr. Hoffman is doing is kind of going through, but it has been a few months, so I just wanted to make sure you guys knew nothing has changed related to these pieces.
Sure. Move forward to the cell phone piece?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Not to speed you up, Mr. Hoffman. I
No,
don't get up to this all.
I get paid by the hour, that's fine.
I think this is where.
Here we go, right there. So this is for the elementary. Previously for dispositions in elementary, for the second offense, the elementary offered up a detention. For the third offense, all the elementary schools offered up in-school suspension. We don't offer those things at our elementary school. So they were consequences that really couldn't be utilized at the elementary school. So what our elementary folks did, which included teachers, principals, and parents from the elementary level, they came up with a recommendation that would only be for elementary. On the first offense, as you can see, staff members provide a verbal warning, and then the parent is notified. On the second offense, administrator confiscates the portable electronic device, and a parent is required to pick that up. Obviously, that is documented. And then finally, on the third offense, it's the same, except that child would then be prevented from, or asked not to bring the cell phone back to an elementary school anymore. What we saw, though, and just to be very honest, we wanted to align this with consequences that would fit the elementary. All of the elementary principals said they were having 1 or 2 offenses a year. It really was not a big deal at the elementary level. They almost never get to a second offense. They didn't think they'd ever had one. So we wanted to make sure that what we had in writing matched what we could actually do if we did have someone that was not adherent to the policy.
And even though there are infractions perhaps, the condition is important.
Yeah.
in preparation to move on to the next grade level.
Correct. So then we moved on to secondary. Obviously, this makes up middle school and high school. On the first offense, I'll just use the term cell phone. That includes everything, electronic devices, wireless earbuds, all of that. The teacher and the guardian are going to notify the parent. They're going to take the device from them. And then the student, at the end of the day, can pick the device up from the office and on their way home. So that's for the first offense. On the second offense, the cell phone will be collected and then it will be secured in the front office. The teacher logs that into a school-wide Google form that allows us to track that. An administrator and designee will notify the parent, and then at the end of the day, the parent is allowed to come and pick that up. With all of the offenses numbered second through fifth, the parent will be having a conference with the administrator or the administrative designee. So that is something that is important. We want to get parents involved. We do not feel as if parents are going to be allowing children to bring cell phones to school if they've had to meet with an administrator once. So we're hoping to get a lot of support out of parents for that. So that administrative parent conference we think will go a long way. That will take place in offenses second through fifth. To the third, please. Same thing, if they are collected, the teacher will take them, they will go to the principal, they will have to be picked up at the end of the day by a parent. At this level, though, the student would now receive 1 day of in-school suspension due to that. Obviously, a parent conference would take place, as I mentioned. If we go to the fourth offense, same thing, the cell phone would be collected and it would be stored in the front office. It once again is logged into the school-wide Google form. Administrator calls the parent to have it picked up, and there would be a conference with that. The discipline here tiers out a little bit. It goes from being 1 day of in-school suspension to being 3 days. And then finally to the fifth, all the same that we've talked about with the third and fourth. Now the discipline changes to an out-of-school discipline, and it also goes from being categorized as a cell phone violation to now it's a failure to comply. In dealing with the high school administrators, teachers, and parents on the committee, we don't anticipate getting to this level, and if we do, it really is about not wanting to comply. They've made a decision that, I'm going to use my phone when I want, so we felt a little firmer consequence would be appropriate when we got to a fifth offense. We don't think we will be there often, but if we did, this gives us something to do that will hold the student accountable to following the rules that we're recommending.
And board members, while we're processing, I just want to say thank you to the high school specifically for taking the lead on this one. We passed the policy last month, and within 48 hours, we had flow charts. Within 48 hours, we had Google documentation for them so we could track. This isn't my first offense, this is we have it all laid out, and they've really built a system along with the middle school in like 2 weeks. To be ready to roll this out. So I do want to say where we start will likely not be where we end up because we will come back to the board and share, here's how the first X weeks have gone, here's where kids, here are first-time offenders that we never see again, here's Mr. Reimer, not that it'd be Mr. Reimer, on offense 4.
Good example.
And then at the end of market period, so we plan to bring this data back to you, and we may come back and go, we're a little too soft on this one. We think we need to wrap up this, or we don't think we need to do this. It needs to be, but we want to bring you hard data with real kids in line. So I just want to thank the administrators for really pushing very hard on this to get us ready in such a short amount of time.
We're also, Dr. Nichols, going to get recommendations from the state about their policies and their enforcement steps this as well.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Pagano. So Governor did have the executive order. The Virginia Department of Education conducted listening sessions. The 16th, we're supposed to get our first look at the guidelines, which will be up for public review and feedback, and we don't know what that's going to say. I would almost guarantee we're going to be on the right side of that. As far as ours, I don't think we'll have to do more. I think it'll line up pretty nicely. The biggest question in that guidance is, and I do want to make this point publicly, it says instructional time. What we mean in New Kent is when you come in the doors, as you've outlined in the policy, Cell phone is not on your person and until you leave. So it's not out during lunch and it's not out during class change. And so your cell phone policies is really wire to wire. So we don't know if the guidelines will allow some flexibility in there, but I think no matter what it does, we have ours lined up and ready to go. So high school will be hitting this, middle school will be hitting this in all of their orientations and all of their back to school events and all of their morning announcements. And so it'll be on repeat. So we also put it in our information back to school night. I even put it in my video related to this. So we're trying to do everything we can to make sure folks know this is what
We're pretty confident no one will say they didn't know.
I think I'm not as confident as you are.
Yeah.
I will say we're trying to do everything we can.
Well, the encouraging part is too, that from prior to passing the policy, the investment in studying what has been going on in other areas with the same sort of policies. The encouraging upside is within a short period of time, the students actually have embraced it and appreciate communicating again. So we look forward to that, getting through the curve and into that positive.
And our students are very much aware of the policy, so just
Yeah.
walk around anywhere and you will have to.
Sure. Mr. Hockman, did the committee discuss at the secondary level as an ultimate consequence banning phones for the rest of the school year for a multiple offender?
The group talked about a bunch of different consequences, and one of the issues you run into with banning phones, so a student comes to his fifth consequence or whatever it may be, and we want to say that your phone is banned, it is very difficult for us as a school to monitor who's bringing a phone in and out of school.
Sure.
So it really comes back to if you are using the phone when you're not supposed to, which would obviously be during the instructional day, there's a consequence that's coming with it. We can recommend to them, hey, you can't bring a phone. We can say you can't bring a phone. We don't get into searching kids. One thing that we have done a little homework with is if kids are required to turn them in, kids have extra phones. So what they have found is that they're turning in a burner phone and then they have their real phone with them. So our goal right now is to basically let them know what the expectations are and let Dr. Nichols say, get some hard data, communicate with parents, and hopefully we get the support we need to get the outcome you're talking about where kids are interacting face to face and talking to each other versus doing that through electronic means during the school day. We will come back, I'm assuming, at least quarterly to share what we see. And also a lot of the other school divisions in the state are just beginning this as well, sharing best practices. So I think that's something, there's a lot of people doing things out there differently. Let's see what's really working at similar school divisions, and potentially if they look like it's a really good thing that could work here, we can steal it and implement it here.
Let me ask you also, did you consider any even more harsh punishment for videoing? That's one of the issues, inappropriate activity in the bathrooms and or fights, things like that, because that is, posting these things have really been quite an issue.
A lot comes in, and it's one of the terms we had talked about with the earlier part of this presentation was bullying. So one of the things that happens with fights being videoed and things like that, kids are made fun of relentlessly online. So we have talked with our administrators, and if someone is caught posting video or taking video, there are consequences that come that probably would not fall within the cell phone violation part, but more so other sections of the book with some harsher consequences.
Which leads me to my next question then. Are you monitoring that as closely as you are the cell phone policy?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is like Mr. Hockman said, so if that was to occur from a student, you wouldn't be on this at all, like 1 through 5. It's a whole separate setting. You're going out. It could involve the sheriff's department depending on the nature of it and those pieces. We're somewhat reliant on students to help us with that, especially when they go on Snapchat and those different things and screenshots. But in partnership with our students and law enforcement, it's something we take very seriously, that we do it differently than just a cell phone violation.
Excuse me, what section does that fall into the code of conduct? Because if we go back a few slides, is that one of the things that was shown before in the code of conduct as far as
Videoing?
videoing? Yeah.
So I could pull the book out, And I could get that for you and show you where it is. There's different ways to put it in there. I mean, depending on what the outcome is.
It's not on here, because that was one of the concerns I had, at what level, a level 1, a 2, or a 3, because not only that is, if anyone, we're not supposed to do video or taking pictures of anyone without consent from the parent, right? And so my concern also is that beyond them posting, they're violating someone's privacy as well. So there are a whole set of issues that go into.
It is not a level 1 or a level 2, it is out of school related to those type of offenses. It's not a conference or,
And it does mention in the book you're not allowed to do that, and so and I wasn't sure of the consequence, though it is out of school, which is good. And we could also look at expanding it.
Sorry, Mr. Hartman. In fact, the result, right?
Yes.
Because the act of the videoing is a violation of the other code of conduct. The act of using the phone to make that happen is a violation of the cell phone policy.
Correct.
Depending on the egregious nature of the video, whether it goes to New Kent Sheriff's Department for law enforcement action or not, it should be both of those things.
we can note it in the cell phone, it's a cell phone violation. I think if I'm understanding what you're saying. So let's say that a kid does video something.
Secondary.
We treat it with a harsher consequence because it's a bigger deal than I just looked at my phone. But we also note it here so it counts as one of 3 or
Yeah, I would like for us to review that at some point in time, because there's a direct correlation between the video and cyberbullying and suicide. They're hand in hand, and we can prevent that kind of tragedy through idiocy by perhaps opening this policy up and being more specific at some.
We can look into that, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last question on the fourth bullet where it says the incident report will be logged in the student's file. Can you explain?
Sure.
I know that you explained that to me earlier, but I think it's
On
important.
the first 2 offenses, the incident will be logged into a Google form at the high school and middle school. On a 3rd offense, if we got to that point, it would obviously still go into the Google, but then an administrator would also then log it as an official referral into the discipline system. We've kind of gone back and forth if we should do that initially. A lot of kids will make a mistake, they'll use it one time and they're never going to do that again. We don't want those students that are making an honest mistake to have to make a note on their college acceptance forms that they've ever had a referral history. So we felt like as long as we're monitoring, we had a way to track the students and the number, that it was not necessary to put it into our discipline system until the 3rd offense.
And the 3rd offense is when they actually receive the school-based discipline versus turning in my phone and my family coming to get it. So it's, once again, that may be something we come back to and go, okay, too far this way, too far that way.
Sure.
As a starting point, we've had a lot of discussion about that.
And the great thing is the Google form, we will use that for all offenses. That will be much easier for us to track data versus going into Power School and trying to find that for you. So the Google part will help a lot with getting you all good information on what we're seeing in the school.
And we're also navigating the workload of the teacher on this and the administrator. The Google form is I share with you guys, the Google form is very easy to fill out versus the other piece. So there's some efficiency savings there.
Now, is the Google form across the board for all discipline, all areas? I.e. the dress code, for instance, in the middle school. I know we have a firm and solid dress code, but it's not being adhered to. And so would that,
Potentially, we could do a Google form for dress code. What you said is very true. There's nothing wrong with our dress policy. It has to be enforced.
it's solid?
So what we have done, we've been working with the administrators at the middle school and the high school about the dress code and enforcing the dress code and being consistent with dress code. And a lot of that is letting folks know that there is an expectation that all staff are expected to report those violations to an administrator so that they can be addressed. When there is consistency across the board, I think you can see that the dress code will be, I guess, followed by the students, but right now, there are certain folks that can probably do a better job at enforcing it, and we're going to try to make sure they're aware of that, and then the principals right now are working on that.
And Mr. Vaught, I think we can look at the success of this Google form and that limits some other things such as that and see.
Get some good data out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, because I can tell you this one board member is going to be looking at that
Yep.
and enforcing that policy, because it is solid. It's a great policy.
Any further questions? I have one further observation. In the case of a kid who has a burner phone and attempts to turn in that instead of regular phone, I think there should be something in the code that addresses that. And
We have some areas with it, that would not just be, it would get logged as a cell phone violation, but we would also administer a punishment that would probably result in several days out of school. I believe, I don't know the number, misleading an administrator, so we have somewhere where we can put that.
Anytime a student gets in trouble, there are sometimes often multiple violations.
yeah,
So this would be the same thing, it wouldn't just be a cell phone that's out, it would be the other act with it too. And
fine, as long as you have a way.
And the consequence is always the greater of the two, but both are noted in there, so.
Anything else? Okay, let's move on.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Now is the citizen comment period. And we have one speaker who's registered tonight, Josh Townsend. Josh, sorry. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. You'll be alerted.
I'll be less than that.
Okay, there's a timer going on if you hear, please sum up.
Okay. First of all, I'm Josh Downey. I'm the student minister at Journey Christian Fellowship. I don't know if you guys know where that's at, Bottoms Bridge. And I just wanted to bring a word of encouragement before the school year and offer myself as a resource. If you need to reach out to me, please don't hesitate to do so. And throughout this meeting, I've heard you guys talk about multiple different things, and most of all, it's the care of our students and the well-being of them. So with that, thank you. The encouragement I have for you is out of Joshua, the book of Joshua in the Old Testament. He says in Joshua chapter 1, starting in verse 7, he says, "Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do all according that is written in it." And with that said, throughout history, the Bible, God's Word, has proven to be good and faithful. And throughout your time here on the board, I'm just praying for you guys that you would continue to do things God's way. Because historically, when we do things God's way, we prosper. And when we move away from that, we don't, unfortunately. And the Bible has proven that, history has proven that, and there are several statistics that would prove that as well. So I just wanted to encourage you guys. I'm planning on being at most of the meetings, and you have my number now. So if I can be a resource to the board, I would be happy if you reached out to me. Please don't hesitate to do so. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And amen.
So, on to action items. So the first action item is approval of the 2024-2025 fundraising projects by school. Do I hear a motion to approve the 2024 fundraising?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second's been made. Ms. Davis, please hold.
Ms. Cunha?
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn?
Aye.
Mr. Pagano?
Aye.
Mr. Reimer?
Aye. The motion has been passed on a 4-0 vote. Next will be the consideration of the approval of appropriations for FY24 and FY25. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second's been made. Ms. Davis, please poll us.
Ms. Cunha?
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn?
Aye.
Mr. Pagano?
Aye.
Mr. Reimer?
Aye. The motion has been passed on a 4-0 vote. Next would be the approval of the code of conduct.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second's been made. Please
Ms.
poll.
Cunha?
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn?
Aye.
Mr. Pagano?
Aye.
Mr. Reimer?
Aye. Motion's been passed, 4-0 vote. So that concludes our action items. Members of the board, here's your opportunity to speak to the public. Mr. Pagano.
Sure, thank you everybody again for coming out tonight. Mr. Townsend, thank you for your comments. I just want to say great job to Ms. Strickland, Dr. Nichols, and the team for the staffing excellence. I'm pretty excited about all the positions we have and the fact that we're largely 100% filled. The new programs are also exciting, especially the entrepreneurship program, so kudos for putting that together. I'm just looking forward to a great school year. Thank you everybody for coming out.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I will say that a lot of things happen in the summer behind the scenes that a lot of people aren't privy to, and you don't realize what's going on. But I can tell you, I've visited many different things going on in the summer program, etc. And these people are dedicated to 100% to providing the best experience for all students. I thank the staff. They're incredible. They really are. And as far as parents, I ask you and urge you to support your children as they get ready for school. Make sure it's very important that they have good rest before they go to school, that they're prepared, they have what they need, and model for them the expectations, and that will help them succeed when they go to school. Thank you.
Bob.
I too would like to thank Ms. Anderson and her team and Dr. Nichols and everyone involved in staffing the schools and just the extra work and extra effort that has taken place. Thank you so much. Very proud of that. Also, Pastor Townsend, thank you for your comments. The book of Joshua is one of my favorites. In fact, I believe we have a Joshua generation coming. And I appreciate that. And I am aware of your work and journey, and thank you for your answering your call. As far as the parents go, this is an amazing school system that we have, all facets of it, and from the inside out. And I am just so encouraged about this coming year and the teams that have been put in place and looking forward to the successes and the stories. It truly, when Dr. Nichols says it's a family or Team New Kent, it really truly is Team New Kent. And I couldn't be more proud, quite frankly. Thank you.
Dr. Nichols, anything to add?
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Incredibly excited about welcoming 3,500 plus students back in 2 weeks. All of Team New Kent is back on the staff side on Monday the 19th. We'll have a big convocation. Lots to look forward to this year. You heard about new courses, new opportunities for kids. We're opening new doors so kids have greater opportunities. The Navy program is in year 2, so we're excited about the expansion of that. And I got some incredible numbers today that I want to share. We do a lot of work on the college side. We do a lot of work on the career side, so employment, enrollment, and enlistment. Bridging Communities is an incredible regional center. We're going to set a record there. We have 102 students at Bridging Communities this year getting certifications in HVAC, small engine, diesel, coding, nursing, pharmacy tech, culinary, you name it. So the enrollment, enlistment, employment mission is alive and well. And honestly, you haven't seen anything yet because we have big plans moving forward. So excited about the school year and can't wait to have those buses rolling. Thank you so much.
And I would just like to add that I'm proud to be part of a board that is committed to making every hour of classroom instruction valuable. And proud to be part of the school system where the administration shares that same goal. And with that, our next meeting will be on Monday, September 16th at 6 p.m. for closed session and at 6:30 for our regular session here in the New Kent Historic Courthouse. With that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for attending.
The meeting or the call? Call.